I'm Dan Carlson, one half of Two Cap Men, wishing he had a beer.
I'm John Cadolf, the other half of Two Cap Men, and I'm drinking an Angry Orchard. But we are not endorsed by them. I just really like Angry Orchard.
And welcome to the #1 Shudder movie review show on the internet.
Yes.
Shudder Club.
Yes, that is correct. We are the #1 Shudder movie review extravaganza.
Yeah. No one comes close to our ratings. No one talks about this.
No, and
when the media is talking about Shudder movie review shows, they never say, the Two Cap Men are doing the best job.
No, but it's true. Statistically, we are #1. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, okay, so, we have our own personal opinions, of course, but they in no way reflect the opinions of Two Kept Men, the Two Kept Men Corporation as an entity.
Yes, both
and
of us agree.
Our personal opinions only.
Both of us agree on our opinions individually, but as a corporation, we don't agree.
We take no stand.
Yes, as a corporation, we don't agree with ourselves.
Not necessarily.
No, we don't necessarily agree with the commentators of Two Kept Men.
So Two Kept Men takes no responsibility for what the talent has to say.
We are going to review a movie it's got a fake premise because it says Daniel isn't real, but here I am right in front of you. You can see that I am in fact flesh and blood. Well, I guess you don't know that. You just see a visual representation of me. So maybe I'm not, but it's
fake news.
It's fake
news.
Fake news. Daniel isn't real. I just yelled that. Everybody in the building can hear that. Okay, so this movie, Daniel isn't real.
Not here, Mrs. Torrance.
And now we'll take it away. A tremendous talent, John Cadolf.
Thank you, Dan. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to the people.
I would just like to thank you for the sycophantic opportunity to just give you softball questions and say things that are going to make you look good. It's very good of you to allow me to do that.
Yep. Okay, so Daniel isn't real. Hey, sorry. Sometimes you just got to work out those frustrations, and this is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
Daniel Isn't Real is a story about a child who has some emotional difficulties and problems. So this demon or extraterrestrial entity takes advantage of the situation and manifests itself to this kid. Daniel
isn't real because he's an imaginary friend or a demon or a projection or a shadow side of Luke. And the first line of the movie from an adult is Luke. So I almost, like in my head, said, "I'll be right there, Aunt Peru."
Yep. That's the first thing I thought. In fact, that was the reason that I so quickly recommended the movie to you.
Okay.
Luke! The same way, too.
Yeah. So,
it was great.
Yeah. So the kid has an imaginary friend. They play swords with umbrellas and all kinds of stuff. And there's a key moment where this imaginary friend goes from being helpful to being harmful. He tells the child that if he gives his mother extra doses of her medicine in her drink, that he'll give her superpowers. And of course, it's basically a murder attempt.
Yeah.
And then so they decide to lock the imaginary friend away in this dollhouse that the boy has. And then years later, he's talking to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist says,
he in fact, let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
He actually locks Daniel away in it by screaming "Get in" at him, because Daniel won't go in.
Right.
So the boy is just screaming at him, get in," because once he realized what Daniel made him do, he, wanted him away.
Yeah.
So,
and he goes in, and then for 20 years or whatever, he's not a problem. And Luke goes to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist suggests that maybe he shouldn't have this aspect of his imagination locked away, and that you should maybe let him out and allow him to give a healthier view of the situation. Daniel is very helpful at first. He helps Luke get a girlfriend. He helps him get laid. He helps him
by writing the answers to a test all over his body and standing up at the front of the class to give him the answers.
It goes way beyond intuition. He actually knows things that he would never know otherwise, and things like that.
But he's a very jealous imaginary friend.
Yeah.
And when he's kind of prompting him with this girl that he's trying to get, he starts to quote the Bible, and Daniel, or I'm sorry, the kid growing up, I can't remember his name, he starts to misquote Daniel, and Daniel gets really pissed off and comes up and starts screaming in his face.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he's turning dark again.
Although I didn't, for the purposes of the story, I thought, he's turning dark again. But it almost, to me, it seemed like the perfect visual analogy of when you don't listen to your intuition, when you know something's something you should do, and you just and your intuition's kind of screaming in your face, and you're not doing anything. Like you're doing what you want instead.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of an interesting visual metaphor for It doesn't really hold up through the whole movie, but it was kind of interesting. For that.
Yeah, and I think that you bring up an interesting point, that they tried to kind of show that is the word allegorical,
mm-hmm.
Apropos to this.
I think so.
That. And I think that's probably where they got the idea or that he might have been a projection of his darker self or whatever. Mm. However, I think that they do that in that way, where it is an entity, but they try to show it like that.
To me, it almost felt like Drop Dead Fred, but without the comedy. That's what I said. Hey, this is Drop Dead Fred. If it was a serious horror movie.
Still haven't seen all of that movie.
Fantastic flick that really starts out as a comedy and goes really deep.
I don't like anything with boogers in it. I don't like where boogers are the joke of anything. No.
Okay. I basically Daniel gets to the point where he's so angry and trying to take over and gain control that he eventually reveals himself as a visual, what's the word? An embodiment of the abyss. And he's got some goofy icicles sticking out of his head.
Yeah, which the girlfriend actually painted in the picture of him as part of his shadow. It's just they see that.
Yeah. The cool thing that I thought, there was actually some very overt references to Jacob's Ladder in this, even though I was worried from the trailer that this might be a Jacob's Ladder ripoff, but it's actually...
You had mentioned that.
Yeah, it's actually nothing like Jacob's Ladder, but there are some visual moments that are very Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, the
There's
faces that are staring down at him.
the face is staring down at him while there's strobe lights going off.
Yeah.
That obviously they were thinking Jacob's Ladder when they filmed that. And
Yeah.
and the next shot is a subway.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a strong
Influence.
and I don't mind an influence. I don't like when something's ripped off, like
Right.
but I don't mind if somebody gives a little visual cue or says, "Hey."
I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
just like you could say about the opening line of the movie. Luke.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I don't know if that was intentional.
Oh, come on. The actress, they could have had the actress deliver that in any way that they wanted to. But she really specifically did the Aunt Beru there, or the uncle.
Okay.
And
well, it was enough for me to think that's what it was.
So yeah, that's exactly what I got immediately.
I really liked Cassie.
Yeah.
I thought that there was. I'm very happy that that relationship works in the movie, because that kind of is that's kind of the way into the movie is. There's just something very honest and real about them when they're together.
Yeah. And she's a fabulous actress. I don't remember what else I've seen her in, but she's a specific type of actress. She's kind of like it's like she should only have one name, like Zendaya
or Cher.
Madonna. She's very specific. She is. There's no one like Meatloaf. I just had a meatloaf sandwich.
Isn't meatloaf 2 words?
No, meatloaf is 1 word.
But in the name Meatloaf, I think meat is the first name and loaf is the last name.
I don't think they call him Mr. Loaf. I think young Daniel was good.
And very well acted as a child.
Nathan Chandler Reed.
Yeah.
Was his name apparently. Now, I don't agree with a lot of the ratings that are out there. Rotten Tomatoes only gave it what is it, an 82%?
Well, that's a pretty high
Let's
rating.
See. 1 second. Let me find it again. Yeah, 82%. IMDb only gave it 6 out of 10. And Fandango only gave it 54%.
Well, where would you put it?
Around the 85 to 87%.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, you'd give it about an 8, 8.5?
8.5.
I'd say it's in about an 8. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I liked it. I actually, by the end of it, I thought, I might watch this again at some point, which I don't find myself saying very often these days.